Cadillac Racing is no stranger to motorsports, having multiple entries into the World Endurance Championship and the IMSA Sports Car Championship, and having placed third in the 2023 edition of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The American-based outfit definitely knows how to race. And if you're a Formula 1 fan like myself and are not living under a rock, you will know that Cadillac Racing is due to join the F1 grid for 2026 next year. And just last month they have announced their driver lineup, containing of 10-time race winner Valtteri Bottas and tire whisperer Sergio Perez. In today's video, I will take on a full 10-season My Team career mode on F1 25 to see what they might be able to achieve in the next decade. With that being said, sit back, relax, enjoy the video. So starting off in Season 1 2025, it was going to be none other than Max Verstappen to win the Drivers' Championship. 8 wins in total. We have done 16 race seasons for this career mode sim. He also won 5 sprints. And then we've got Lando in second, Oscar in third, Leclerc fourth, Russell, Lewis, Yuki, Antonelli, Sainz and Albon. And taking a look at the Constructors' Championship, we've got McLaren on top, just like in real life, edging out Red Bull for second, Ferrari in third, and then Cadillac 0 points down in last place. So not the best opening season for Cadillac, but of course the real start is in 2026. So in Season 2, we had a bunch of driver changes. We had Yuki retiring from the sport, Sainz filling his seat at Red Bull, Hadjar going to Williams, Doohan to VCarb, Maloney to Alpine, Marty to Alpine, Lewis Hamilton goes to Haas as Ocon and Stroll become free agents, Bortoleto moves to Aston Martin, Lando moves to Mercedes, George fills his seat at McLaren, Gasly goes to Ferrari, and Roman Stanek makes his debut in the Kick Sauber. But in the championship, once again, it was going to be Max Verstappen winning the Drivers' Championship. 10 wins to his name this year, ahead of Leclerc, Lando in the McLaren in third, Sainz in fourth, ahead of Russell, Piastri, Gasly, Antonelli. And also in the sprint races, Max won 2 sprints, Lando had 1 sprint race win. And in the Constructors, there was no match for Red Bull, taking P1, McLaren dropping out of the top 3, but crucially Cadillac on 7 points up in P8. So we go from 11th to 8th in our first season. The rest of the teams are pretty equal, but let's head to Season 3, where we have a completely different driver lineup. Once again, we had Aaron resigning from Cadillac, Alonso moving to Cadillac, Lawson going to Aston Martin, Maloney to VCarb, Piastri to Alpine, where he should have gone in 2023, Hadjar to McLaren, Bortoleto to Williams, Berman to Aston Martin, Aaron to Haas, Nico Hülkenberg becoming a free agent, and Zach O'Sullivan filling the second kick seat next to Roman Stanek. So taking a look at the Drivers' Championship, it was finally the year of Lando Norris to take the title with 9 wins in 16 races, ahead of Charles Leclerc, Verstappen, Albon in 5th actually with a win as well, and Bortoleto gets his maiden win this season as well. And on top of that, we have Sainz winning 2 sprint races, Lando won a sprint, Albon won a sprint race, and Leclerc wins a sprint race. So a bunch of different race winners, but it's good to see Lando finally get his driver's title in 2027. As we then take a look at the Constructors' Championship, this year it was going to be the year of Mercedes to take the win along with the Drivers' World Championship. They also win the Constructors' World Championship ahead of Ferrari and Red Bull. Williams in 4th, McLaren dropped down to 5th, Cadillac still in 8th place, but you can see they've got 100 points this season, so it's been a massive step up, narrowly missing out on the top 6 by beating Alpine and Aston Martin. But yeah, we've got 1 to McLaren, 1 to Red Bull, and 1 to Mercedes. Let's head to Season 4 then. Once again, packed with driver changes. We had Alonso retiring, Nico retiring, Verstappen moving to Cadillac, Hamilton filling his seat in the Red Bull, Zayn Maloney then went to Haas, Jack Crawford to VCarb, Colapinto became a free agent, George Russell joins Verstappen at Cadillac, Berman goes to McLaren, Hadjar goes to Aston Martin, and Ocon fills the second seat in the McLaren. So in the championship, once again, it was the championship of Lando Norris to win. He's going to win it this time only with 3 wins from 16. Leclerc in second, Albon in the Williams in third, and then we've got our own driver, Max Verstappen, in fourth with 4 wins, equaling on points with Lewis Hamilton. Russell in the top 10 as well in P8 with a win as well, and Lando won 1 sprint and Charles won the other. Let's head to the Constructors' Championship. It's going to be Mercedes yet again to win ahead of Ferrari and Red Bull. The top 3 are the same, but Cadillac finish a current best 4th place, overtaking McLaren, Williams, Aston Martin and Alpine, jumping all 4 of those teams with 251 points, nearly making it into the top 3 here in 2028. So a very good showing from them. The bottom 3 teams are still pretty much the same, and we move on to season 5. We've once again had a decent bit of driver changes. Hamilton becomes a free agent. Verstappen moves back to Red Bull. Sainz joins Cadillac as Gasly returns back to Red Bull. So Red Bull have the same lineup as they had in 2019. Then we have George moving to Ferrari, Leclerc to Cadillac. Albon moves to the other Ferrari seat. Doohan moves to Williams. Vershaw to VCarb. Stanek becomes a free agent as he's released from Kick and replaced by Marty. Martins moves to Alpine, and Aaron becomes a free agent. And lastly, but certainly not least, Taylor Barnard gets his F1 debut at Haas. And once again, Cadillac are looking good with Sainz and Leclerc. And it was going to be Charles Leclerc, of course, who else, to win the first Drivers' Championship for Cadillac here in Season 5 in 2029. 7 wins from 16 races. Very strong showing from him. Ahead of Max, Lando, George and Oliver to complete the top 5. We had 3 sprints. Charles won 2 of them and George won 1 of them. But that is exactly where Cadillac need to go. This time Red Bull finish first ahead of Mercedes, then it's Ferrari, and it's once again Cadillac in 4th place, just 2 points ahead of McLaren. But nonetheless, that is a very strong showing and the most points we have scored as a team so far. Again, the lineup is pretty usual. McLaren, and then it's Williams, Aston, Alpine, Haas, VCarb and Kick, which seems to be the standard in this career mode and will be the case for the next few seasons as well. But the top 3 have had a nice mix up, but McLaren need to step up their game in the second half of this career mode. So let's head to season 6, where we will get Kimi Antonelli leaving Mercedes, become a free agent. Sainz goes to Mercedes and Cadillac forget to sign a second driver. Therefore, Rafael Villa-Gomez joins them alongside Leclerc. Gasly becomes a free agent, enabling Gabriel Bortoleto to go to Red Bull. Lawson moves to Williams. Hadjar becomes a free agent, which puts Marty into the Aston Martin and Stroll filling his seat in the Kick Sauber. 2030 was going to be the year of George Russell, 258 points, 5 wins, and he finishes over 30 points ahead of Oliver Burman. Max Verstappen, once again, a pretty strong 3rd place finish ahead of Lando, Alex, Liam, Esteban Ocon, Gabriel Bortoleto, Piastri, and last but not least, Charles Leclerc down in 10th place. 3 sprint races, Albon won 1 of them, Berman won the other, and then George won the last sprint race. And looking at the constructor standings, we've got Ferrari finally taking the crown in this, at the start of the next decade, ahead of McLaren returning back into the top 3, and then Red Bull in 3rd. We've got Mercedes in 4th, Atlassian Williams Racing in 5th, and unfortunately Cadillac drops down to 7th, almost scoring 200 points less than last season. So that's quite a drop off. You can see Haas, Kick and Aston have a lot more points than they had last season. Points distribution is a lot greater as we score way less points. But let's head to season 7 and start with the new lineups once again. Villa-Gomez is released by Cadillac and replaced by George Russell. Piastri fills his seat at Ferrari. Hadjar moves to Alpine. Crawford is released and becomes a free agent, promoting Hauger to get his seat in the VCarb. Gabriel Bortoleto becomes a free agent as well, which enables Kimi Antonelli to go to Red Bull after a year off. So that is a very interesting lineup, Kimi and Max in the Red Bull. I'd love to see that in real life. So let's see how they do in the season. And it's going to be Max Verstappen on top once again after 7 years. He's going to win it ahead of his teammate. It's a 1-2 for Red Bull, the first 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship in this career mode. Lando in third, Behrman fourth, George in fifth place. And regarding sprint race wins, we had Piastri winning a race, Kimi winning a race, and Max winning one of the sprint races. As we then look at the constructor standings in 2031, and it's going to be Red Bull well ahead of anyone else, nearly double the points of McLaren and Mercedes, which is absolutely insane. 535 points. Cadillac back up to fourth, even if they don't have a great amount of points. 3 points ahead of Ferrari, the lowest finish Ferrari have had so far. Haas score a staggering 116 points, boosting their position in the championship quite a bit as well. So some changes as we head towards season 8 of this championship. We had Ocon going to Williams, Piastri moving back to McLaren, Kimi leaving Red Bull going to Ferrari, enabling Behrman to take his seat in the Red Bull car. Russell goes to McLaren, Lando moves to Cadillac, Sainz becomes a free agent, and then interestingly Maloney and Zach O'Sullivan go to Mercedes, enabling Fittipaldi to get his F1 debut in the kick. Marty becomes a free agent, and therefore Colapinto takes that seat at the Aston Martin team. And this year, it was finally going to be the year of Kimi Antonelli to win the championship. 6 wins in 16 races and a pretty solid gap to P2 man Lando Norris, who won 4 races this season. George in third, also with 4 race wins. And then we had Piastri, Max, Maloney, Behrman, Sullivan, Lawson and Albon. And looking at the sprint races, Kimi won 3 of them and George won 2 of them. Lando, no sprint race wins, but that is fine in P2. Looking at the constructors, Cadillac finally managed to be third, and in the same year McLaren finally returned to the top spot. Ferrari in second, and we scored 264 points, just 2 points ahead of Oracle Red Bull Racing. Mercedes in 5th place, not too far off either. Move to the penultimate season, then we have Behrman becoming a free agent. Ocon becomes a free agent as well, enabling Gabriel Bortoleto to move to Red Bull. Crawford goes to Williams, Verschoor goes to Haas, Miata goes to VCAR, Barnard goes to Alpine, Martins moves to Haas, Verstappen moves to McLaren, enabling Kimi Antonelli to move to Red Bull, and Piastri therefore moves to Ferrari. But this is once again going to be the year of Kimi Antonelli to win the driver's title, well ahead of his ex-teammate Max Verstappen. 9 wins in 16 races. Then we've got George in third, Lando in fourth, ahead of Bortoleto, Piastri, Maloney, Albon, Lawson and Zach O'Sullivan. A very dominant performance in this penultimate season. Kimi wins a sprint, George wins a sprint, and Gabriel Bortoleto wins a sprint as well. Heading to the Constructors' Championship, we've got Red Bull back on top, McLaren in second, Ferrari in third. Quite a usual picture. Cadillac in fourth. Once again, it seems like time is running out to get that top spot in the Constructors' Championship. And then the rest of the Constructor standings is pretty much the same. Mercedes leading Williams, Aston, Haas, Alpine, VCARB, and the Kick team. So we've got one more season to go then, the last season of this career mode. Stroll becomes a free agent. Crawford moves to Kick. Albon moves back to Williams after many, many years away. Barnard gets to step up to Ferrari for the last season. Ocon moves back home to Alpine. Piastri joins Norris at Cadillac for season 10. Russell goes to Ferrari. Kimi Antonelli now goes to McLaren after Ferrari and Red Bull. Verstappen goes back to Red Bull, and Leclerc joins Kimi Antonelli in the McLaren for this last season. How will this go? Who will win the championship? It was going to be Kimi Antonelli once again, another 9 wins this season, ahead of his teammate, 13 wins combined. Lando with 0 wins in third, still a strong showing by him. Max in fourth, Russell in fifth, Bortoleto 6th, Zane, Maloney 7th, Lawson and Albon 8th and 9th, and Barnard in 10th. And winning sprint races, there was one driver who won all of them. Of course, it was Kimi Antonelli, probably the most dominant season we had besides season 2 of Max Verstappen, winning 10 races. At this point, all cars are maxed out, and you can see McLaren cracked the 600-point barrier in 16 races, remember, not 24, which is absolutely insane. Red Bull in second, Ferrari in third, once again Cadillac in fourth, and Williams actually managed to beat Mercedes in this final season, and Aston Martin dropped quite a bit. Haas in seventh, Kick in eighth, Aston Martin in ninth, Alpine in 10th, and VCarb scoring 0 points in total in this last season. Yeah, that was it with this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you do like this content and want to see more 10 season simulations, let me know what teams you would like to see below. But that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, from me, it's take care and goodbye.